Did you know that you can live a life that's even better than the highest rank your company has to offer? My name is Emily Gibson. I'm a master network marketer and a certified life coach. There is more beyond the rank. And if you're willing to go with me, I can show you how. Let's go. Hey there, gang. Welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're going to dive into a topic that hits home for a lot of network marketers. It's the confidence gap, my friends. It's that tricky space between where you are right now. Maybe you're struggling, maybe you're feeling uncertain, maybe you've already hit the top and you're having some imposter syndrome, and where you want to be successful, consistent, maybe even thriving in your business. Maybe you're at the top, maybe you're burned out. Maybe you're just getting started. Maybe you're in the middle. You feel like you've lost everything. We're going to talk about what the confidence gap looks like and why so many people fall into it. More important than that, how you can overcome it to become the leader you were always meant to be. One thing that I know is super, super true is that God does not want you to fail. God wants you to win. If He places a desire on your heart, He's going to pave the path. And what Satan does is he wants to break you down and get you to believe that you can't do this, that you're not good enough, that the money you make isn't enough, that you just got lucky with a quick start and then failed because really there wasn't anything to you. That's all a lie. I have a client, we'll call her Sarah. And Sarah got into network marketing because she wanted more freedom, more money for her family. She actually reminds me a lot of myself. She saw all the success stories. And at first, she was super pumped. She was like, if they can do it, so can I. She signed up, got her products, started sharing with her friends and family. But after a few weeks, things weren't happening as quickly as she thought they would. People weren't responding to her messages. She started getting really afraid of hearing no. And that started to take over. Now, this is where things usually shift for people. That initial excitement wears off and the confidence gap creeps in. Sarah started to doubt herself. She wondered if she was cut out for this. Gosh, I remember going through the same thing myself. She wondered if she was going to just have everyone be avoiding her at church. She was worried if she was just going to open up her phone and think about all the people that she should be reaching out to and then just frozen, just couldn't move. Her confidence was gone when she found me. She wasn't just afraid of rejection, but she was afraid of doing the work altogether. This story probably sounds familiar to you too, right? Like I'm sitting here and I'm feeling like the more I talk about Sarah, the more I see myself in the early phases as her. So many network marketers go through this. And the confidence gap is where most people quit. I've seen so many thousands of people just like Sarah, maybe just like you, where they have these amazing dreams and they just never make them because they can't figure this out. They start thinking they're not good enough, or maybe they don't actually have what it takes. They start comparing themselves to other people on their team or in their company. But here's the thing. The problem isn't lack of ability. It's a mindset issue. It's the fear of rejection, the fear of not being good enough, and the fear of what other people think. But what if I told you that confidence is not something you're born with? It's something you can build. This was a misconception that I had when I was getting started in network marketing. I had always thought of myself as a really confident person. And so I thought confidence was something I was just born with. But then when I started working with my team, I realized that confidence is not something you're born with. It's something that you develop within yourself, which is the best news ever because it means you can take all your power back and you can get that same confidence. So let's break it down together today on the podcast. But first, we need to reframe how you see rejection. A little bit what I talked about last week. If you listen to last week's episode, I talked about a no and how you think that you should just always be getting yeses. You think it's your job to get yeses. You're a professional yes getter, and that's wrong. It's about getting yeses or nos. You're getting people to a for sure yes or for sure no. It's the maybe where we failed. And so most people see no as like a personal rejection, but it's not. Every single no is just a step closer to a yes. But the key to confidence is realizing that you're not in control of other people's reactions. The only thing you're in control of is your actions, how you think about the things that are happening to you, how you feel when you think that, how often you show up, how consistent you are, how resilient you become in the face of rejection. That's the only difference from people that are all the way at the top, is their resiliency, their grit in the face of rejection. Confidence doesn't grow from avoiding uncomfortable situations. It grows from leaning into them. So how do we bridge that gap, right? Like the first step is to stop focusing on the outcome and start focusing on the process. Sarah's story shifted when she stopped worrying about what other people would say, if they were going to say yes or no. She just started looking at it as, I know 100% chance they're going to say yes or no. And she started focusing on how many people she could make an impact in their life. The goal that I always tell people is to send one story a day, a story about how the products worked for someone that you know, or that's in your company, or that you read or you saw. Who could you send a story to today? Find any story. You can start with the story and you can read the story. Maybe it's inspiring to you, and think to yourself, who do I know that has a problem that this story could solve? And then send it to that person. And after you send it to that person, then I want you to think about, who else could I send this to? Then send it to them. Who else could I send it to? Then send it to them. Who else could I send it to? Then send it to them. But you're only sending one story a day, and you're just repurposing that one story to who else. People get so lost in the world of messaging. They think they need to message 10 new people every day and 100 people a month, and they're going to set big goals of reach outs, and that's what's going to build their business. And all that does is build burnout and lack of confidence and self-doubt. At first, it was scary for Sarah to trust me. I remember her telling me, I've tried messaging challenges like this before. But what changed for her was the ability to just send one story and then think of who else she could send it to. The more she showed up with passion in the products that she really started for, the less she cared about rejection, because she was making it so individually focused on people that she knew might be hurting. It wasn't that she was getting fewer no's. It's that those no's didn't bother her as much because of the way she was thinking about the no's. When you shift your focus from the outcome to the process, you begin to build what I like to call confidence through consistency. The more you show up, the more you realize that the world doesn't end when someone isn't interested. It feels so painful. I hate it. I'm like you. I don't want anyone to say no. But the reality is that some will say yes, some will say no. And the ones that say yes are the ones you're supposed to help. And earning a paycheck by having a big heart is the most satisfying and fulfilling thing about being a network marketer. The power is in showing up again the next day and the day after that. Think of every day, just one story to send to one person. And then, is there anyone else I could send it to? And before you know it, you're not going to be thinking about whether or not you're confident. You're simply doing the work, and you have a habit. And that's where confidence grows, because it builds trust with yourself. See, you think you have to trust other people saying yes to you to be confident in your business, but that's not it at all. That's all backwards. It's actually the confidence that you build in yourself first where confidence grows. It's you trusting you so that when people reject you and tell you no, it doesn't break down your whole being. Another way that's really helped me overcome confidence is leaning into your personal brand. You see, people don't buy just a product. They're buying that they trust you, that they like you, that they know you. It doesn't mean you have to be perfect. But when Sarah realized that she could just show up as herself, she didn't have to be like those other girls in her company. She didn't have to be who she thought she needed to be. She just shared her story, her struggles, other people's stories, and why she believed in what she was doing. And her confidence just grew and grew and grew because she wasn't trying to fit in the mold anymore. She was creating her own mold and allowing the people around her, giving them permission to have their own molds. So other people felt more comfortable sharing the business because they didn't feel like they had to fit in and be like everyone else. And when you give yourself permission to be that authentic version of you, what I like to call your personal brand, that reflects who you truly are, you start attracting the right people to your business. You might not have the loudest or most charismatic personality. It doesn't matter. You just have to be authentic and true to you. If you haven't watched Inside Out 2 yet, I challenge you to watch it this week, sometime this week, in the next 7 days. In it, it talks about the main character, the girl, who she is going to high school and her friends are going to be going to a different high school. And she tries to make the hockey team so she can fit in with the new girls at the high school. And she literally gives up all of her self-concept, all the things about herself that she has built trust with herself, who she is, who she wants to be towards others, how she wants to show up. She just starts breaking it down. This is what happens when we try to fit in our companies, when we try to buy the right clothes to go to convention, when we try to post in the same way that all the other network marketers post, when we try to talk like the other people on our team. What's more powerful than anything else, just like Inside Out 2 teaches, is for you to just be consistent and showing up as yourself. But what if you're stuck in that gap though? And you're like, oh, I'm doing it. I'm doing the thing Emily's teaching me not to do. How do I stop doing it? It's okay. Awareness is always the first step. Compassion is step 2. It makes perfect sense why you're trying to be like everybody else and you're losing a little bit of yourself. Anyone would do the same thing. It's groupthink. It's like human nature. And if you're unsure how to move forward, this is step 3, curiosity, right? Awareness, compassion, curiosity. Here's the truth. Everyone starts right where you are. Confidence isn't something that comes before the work. It comes through the work. It's the small wins, the daily actions, the boring work. It's doing the boring thing over and over again, getting bored, and then keep doing the boring thing until you master it, and then mastering the next boring thing, doing that over and over again, mastering that next thing over and over again, and then teaching other people how to do boring things until they master it over and over again. And it's the mindset shifts that pull you through all that. Because if you're feeling stuck right now, and I've been stuck before, I just want you to ask yourself, how can I take one step today to move closer to that person I want to be? The easy commitment that I always encourage my clients to do is that one story a day. Send one product story a day. Some of you are like, oh, my company doesn't let us have stories. Everyone has a story. Start collecting stories, put it in a Facebook group called your testimonial vault. Tell people that you want to hear their story to build your self-confidence and your belief in the products. Then transcribe their stories, put it in a private group, share those messages privately if you're not allowed to share them publicly. Those of you that are allowed to share them publicly, share 2 stories in your main feed twice a week. The other rest of the days, share things from your personal life. And then show up in your stories every day, keeping people current on your life. It doesn't have to be your whole life on social media. Just get them to know, like, and trust you by showing up. Showing up for yourself in ways you haven't before. That's what this is about. Remember, it's those actions that build confidence, not the other way around. The confidence gap is real, and it's where most people get stuck in network marketing. If you know someone that's struggling with the confidence gap, send them this podcast right now, because I know that when I was struggling with this, I would love to have had someone send me this podcast. It's not because you or they don't have the ability. It's because you're letting fear hold you back. Fear does not pay the bills. Fear does not get your husband home on a Saturday. Fear does not pay off the credit card debt. Fear does not get your babies to Disneyland. Fear does not get you the life that you know is possible with network marketing. If you want to overcome that gap, You got to shift your focus from the outcome to the process. Build your confidence through that consistent action, even when it feels uncomfortable. And being yourself is always going to be your secret weapon. It's the secret sauce. People are going to connect with you when you show up as your authentic self. They're going to be refreshed. They're going to be like, oh, thank goodness, someone having the courage to actually be themselves and not try to be like everyone else. If you are ready to bridge that confidence gap, start small, focus on what you can control, take consistent action, even if it's just sending one story a day and then thinking to yourself, who else can I send this to? Using the 3-step duplication system when they're interested, asking them to post the day they join so you get them a paycheck before their products even show up on their door. Did you know that when someone joins, if you ask them to post within 60 seconds, it will increase your profitability on that one customer by 391%. Like, think about the money you make on one customer joining your business. Times that by 391%. That is what my 3-step PLP duplication system does. Asking people to post the day they join. A week later, ask them to do a live. A week later, having them do a house party or a virtual event where you leverage samples to get people to show up, not so they can feel a difference by having a sample, but so that they can be belly to belly to you, face to face, and make a decision faster. That's why live events are so powerful. I love social media. I love to build with social media and live events. The difference between a live event and social media is people make a decision faster when they're in person with you, belly to belly. Zoom, second best. Better than just a Facebook message or an Instagram message or a text. You've got this. Make today the day that you start showing up for your business, for yourself, in the way that you've maybe even told yourself that you can't do. All right, you guys, I hope this helped. I hope it will help you rethink what confidence looks like, how to achieve it, how to absolutely crush it in your network marketing business. And I dare you to take this practical advice that I've given you today and start overcoming the gap with action. Action takers are money makers. If you enjoyed this episode today, don't forget to subscribe, send it to someone who needs to hear it, leave a comment on the podcast if you can. And I want you to remember that it's the simple daily actions. That's what makes the difference. The only difference between successful people and unsuccessful people is successful people take action faster on what they learn than unsuccessful people. I hope that every time you listen to my podcast, you go take action on something you kind of sort of understood. Maybe you didn't get it all the way. I want you to just start taking action so you can just start making money in your business. I'm cheering for you so big. If you want to check out a little sample of me, you can go to my Instagram, Beyond the Rank & Co., or you can join my free Facebook group. I'll start linking that in the podcast, in the show notes. You can go to my free Facebook group. It's Beyond the Rank and Emily Gibson Coaching. Free Facebook group, got the Beyond the Rank & Co. over on Instagram. And then I have a free Facebook group where I share tips for how to build your business for free every single day. You can try me out. Also, over on my Instagram, there's a link in the profile, Beyond the Rank & Co., where you can just click on that link and you can come to a free live call with me where you can ask me questions face-to-face, live, real human. I know it's like a dying art. Or you can even have access to purchase my mini courses where you can try some of my systems out and see how quickly they make you money. Most of our clients report results financially within 72 hours. So grateful to be teaching you today, and I hope you have an amazing day. All right, everybody, have a great day. Bye now. Who is your life coach? If you don't have one, I would be so honored to be your coach. I've created a virtual program called Beyond the Rank that I want to invite you to join me in. We can address challenges, we can work on goals, and we can do it in so many different ways. We have group coaching, individual private coaching, and hundreds of hours of online courses and content that I'm creating just for you. When you're ready to take what you're learning on the podcast to the 10x level, then come check out Beyond the Rank at emilygibsoncoaching.com.